today we are going to cover one of the three core strategies. And just so I can give you a little reference, I'm actually reading a book right now about raising private capital. And there are a lot of books out there that you start reading and you realize as you start reading stuff, and if you've done other coaching or if you read other books, a lot of these people who write these books may be successful in what they're doing, but they're talking about strategies that they themselves have not actually done. So there's a little kind of a thing with this, right? I mean, somebody's trying to teach you something that they don't personally have experience with. So I didn't want to include anything in my coaching program that I either do not have personal experience with, but this strategy that I found out that I'm teaching today, it's called Work Your Tribe. I don't have personal experience with this, but then what I did was I found somebody in our Freedom Accelerator community who has done this extremely well, and it's a very, very, very relevant strategy. So what I did was I interviewed her and I created a case study. And that's what is the basis for this strategy. Okay, so it's not an academic thing. It is actually something that works. And I had somebody who I talked to, and step by step I interviewed her. So the steps I'm teaching you is basically what she has done. Okay, and I don't want to reveal her name, but if you privately reach out to me, I'll tell you who that person is. It is a real person, okay? All right, so the name of the strategy, like I said, one of our core strategy is Work Your Tribe. Here is, and anybody can do this. It's an amazing strategy. Here's the short summary of the strategy. We all belong to different types of communities or groups, right? And so I'm describing and I'm referring to those communities as tribes. All right. So this could be a church membership group, a group of people that you meet every week at the church, and there's a smaller group of people that you meet that are close to you. Maybe you meet them after church for, I don't know, lunch or something like that. It could be a group of buddies that meet for golf or meet for some other kind of activities if you're into a book club, maybe. I don't know. Again, remember, it's a community of group who have a same similar interest. Uh, or you have group of very close friend who share your profession, and like firefighters, policemen, or teachers. So what is different about a tribe is that a group is generally small and members are close knit. So that is the difference. So, you could casually belong to a group of people, you only meet them maybe once a month, you don't really know anything about their families, they don't ever ask you anything about your career or anything. I'm not talking about that. So this is a little different, okay? This has to be a group of people who are very close knit. And as I go through this strategy, you will realize how strong that is if they are close knit. So, but here's a confusion. You would assume that I'm only talking about one tribe or one community. And if you think about it, most of us in our modern day life, we belong to a lot of different, we do a lot of things. Some of us have jobs, so that's some kind of a community, right? Some of us belong to a professional association, that is a kind of a community. So we belong to several types of tribes, all right? So just starting with that, that's the whole idea, right? Now, here is how the strategy works step by step. And I'm like I said, I have a full case study, so I'll actually use the case study to explain how all of these work. Number one, you choose your tribe very carefully. Like I said, you could belong to several tribes, but you choose the one where you have the most close, you belong to the most close knit group. So, like I said, you could belong to several, but choose the one that you feel has the best connection that you feel with that group, right? Now, you only focus your strategy on this chosen group. So don't try to randomly apply to different groups at different times. You just choose one and then you just focus on that group. Now you're not doing it in other groups. Even if the members in other group ask you, just focus on one because there's a reason for that. Your goal is to introduce the opportunity of earning double digit returns backed by real estate to your tribe members, and obviously you want them to become a private lender with you. So that is the goal, obviously, right? Now, before you talk to any member of your tribe, you have to work on your spiel. I have a spelling mistake there. All right. Spiel simply means a short 15, 20-second pitch, right? So let's talk about that first. So your spiel has to be a personal story that is true and authentic. You will prepare and practice this spiel and then tie in with following things together. Number one, your future lifestyle, allowing you to live your dream life, your financial security due to your real estate business, and reasons why you're doing all of this, basically your why. All right. So your example is here is an example. All right. I'm so excited that I'll finally be able to live my dream lifestyle, live anywhere I like, travel freely, and have the money to do all of this. Especially because I will be able to financially take care of my family without working a 9 to 5 job. Now, I know it's quite a bit in terms of speaking it. The thing is, if you practice it and if it's natural, it'll flow very naturally. All right. So again, that's the spiel. All right. So now let's see how this will work. Now you're finding an opportunity to speak to your tribe member who is closest to you to use your spiel. And what usually, and when I do the case study, you'll see how it actually works. And if this is someone close to you, likely someone you trust and they trust you, they may respond as when you say what I just said, right? In the previous page. And your tribe member may say, wow, that sounds amazing. How are you planning on doing this? Because it's obvious, right? Because let's say they know you well enough, they probably know what you do for a living and they know your lifestyle, they know where you live. So, there is a little bit commonality, right? And suddenly you're talking about these amazing goals. So in their mind, they're curious, well, how are you going to do all of this, right? There's your opportunity to go into more details. Again, you're not making a full presentation, you're just sharing, right? So your response would be something like, glad you asked me. I don't know if you are aware, I have been investing in real estate that is allowing all this to happen in my life. So I buy older homes in the Midwest, really cheap homes. Then I notice I'm not using any jargon, right? So again, I buy older homes in the Midwest, really cheap homes. Then I owner finance them to end buyers. This is helping people who cannot get regular financing to find a home. This also allows me to work with people I know would invest as private money lender, earning passively in real estate. So they loan me money, and I pay them 12% interest while their money is backed by real estate. These loans are small, as $30,000 each, and each lender receives monthly principal and interest payment. Does it not sound exciting? Right? So this is a way. Now, obviously, you cannot speak to someone you don't know like that, right? So it has to be someone that you trust. It has to be someone in the tribe. And so we are not starting with a random person in your tribe. We're starting with the person that you're most closest to, right? Where you really feel that you can talk to that person. So you're starting with that person first. All right. So this casual conversation will let you know whether there is strong enough interest to schedule another meeting. That's now, so right now you gave a kind of a brief overview. Now we're going to go into a proper meeting. So in your next meeting, see you can meet one on one in a place where you can talk uninterrupted. This is actually quite important. If you've done this before, let's say you meet in a coffee shop or some place where there's a lot of noise or there are a lot of people, you won't be able to get the attention. So you want a place preferably that maybe you can control. So if you have an office, that's actually great. Bring them to your office, or a place where you know that you control the environment somehow. Your goal is to use your pitch deck. That's where your pitch deck comes in to make your presentation. Make an assessment after your presentation whether the tribe member is able and willing to invest with you. Now, your closest tribe member, if I'm reading the orange section here, ideally test your spiel and pitch presentation with your closest tribe member. If they're not ready to invest, this is the important thing, because they're closest person within your tribe, right? It is very likely that they would say, look, I'm not in a position to invest, but I know XYZ in our group, again, within the tribe, might be interested. So that's another stepping stone, and that's what I want to talk about. So if several people in your tribe know about the opportunity you're offering and they're interested in learning more, you can actually take advantage by speaking to everyone in a group environment. So it's like a meeting of your tribe, and this time you're bringing them over for coffee or for some kind of a snack at your home, and now you're actually doing the presentation live in front of me. Now, the only thing is, I would not do the pitch deck in a group. That will never work. So never do that. In a group environment, you'll have to do something different. It has to be, again, very brief, very conversational. And from that group meeting, if somebody wants to invest with you, then you would still do your one-on-one pitch deck. Because remember, we are talking about a lot of details. And when you do that in a big environment, it's very, very hard. So ensure you organize this speaking event in a place that you control. So it should not be at the work. If it's like a church group, don't do it at the church. Do it in a place that you control. So do it at your home if you can, or your office. Ideally, you can invite them, like I said, to your home, alternatively to your closest tribe members. They can also host this event for you. All right. Now, if you find yourself making a pitch, meaning to say it's you can feel it as you're talking, that is, I'm not talking about in the group. I'm talking about, let's say you were talking to your closest tribe member and you started doing it, and then you realize as soon as you open your mouth that you didn't practice enough and it's sounding like a sales pitch, simply stop. All right. Don't go through with it unless you're absolutely comfortable. Because really, the only way it's going to come across as an opportunity if it is their idea to ask you, hey, what is it? I want to know what this is all about, rather than you forcing it on them. So there's a difference between, making a forced pitch, sales pitch to someone which many of you have done it, and how bad that turns out. Let's say a family member, you start telling them, and right in the middle of the conversation, you look at their face and you're like, oh my God, this was a mistake. You know what I'm saying? So that's what you want to avoid. You want to avoid uh, it sounding like a sales pitch. So it has to be an opportunity that they asked you to share with you. So it has to be practiced. That's why I'm saying make sure you practice this. All right. So here's another alternative to this specific way of working is you can create your own tribe. The way this works is that as following. Let's assume you belong to a profession like, a doctor, engineer, or some kind of a profession, right? And let's say you're an engineer and you're also a real estate investor, right? So you create a group. You're actually creating it, so it doesn't exist. A group of people who are exactly like you, right? So they're engineers, but they have interest in learning about real estate investments. So now the trust starts with, because you belong to an engineering group and maybe you know them from some engineering group or online forum, whatever, right? So there is a little commonality there in terms of engineering. And then they find out that you set up a group of engineers who are interested in real estate investing. Well, guess what? They'll say, yeah, I like to join in. So that's a very, very common bridge between those two things. So like I said, don't overthink this. It's a very simple way to create a private group. You can do that on a Facebook. I'm talking about this specific strategy where you want to create your own tribe. You can simply create a private Facebook group, which is free to join, but you control it. Um, and you could name it as simple as, using this example, as engineers interested in real estate investing, and begin inviting all the engineers you know. And I'm taking this example. It could be something else that you do, right? So that's why LinkedIn is very useful, even though it is for people with career and looking for career enhancement. But if you were a engineer in past, using this example, because of your LinkedIn connections, you can invite these people to what you're doing now. And you'll be surprised how many people are interested in doing this, even though they are, engineers, for example. All right. So now, if you did create your own tribe, then your idea is that you are the expert in real estate investing. You are educating them. You think about your avatar experience spectrum. You answer questions, even host a monthly, weekly Zoom calls. Since this is your group, when the time is right, you can introduce a real estate investment opportunity for them to think about. So this is something like you are creating. Okay, it's a little bit hard, but that's another way of doing it. All right. Now, I'm going to share with you the actual case study based on which I, decided to use this. So this is a person in our community who has done it so successfully. She's got so many private money lenders from using this strategy. It's because she was so genuine and real. So I've changed her name and her husband's name, even though I do have her permission to do this, but I didn't want to just put it out there. Okay. So her name is Jane. Jane has spent 9 years teaching eighth grade. Specifically, she has taught special education alongside with eight or nine other teachers. While she was still working in her day job, she helped her husband, who is the one who started working in the slow flip business, Josh, with their slow flip real estate business. This is what she used to do. While she was at work during breaks, her community, her tribe would see her filling slow flip properties, calling potential buyers, handling paperwork. Right? They could literally see her. She would go out during her break, not obviously during the job. So whenever the break was there, she would go out and she'd be doing it. So of course, people were watching her and saying, "What is she doing?" Right? So her colleagues started noticing and asking questions. And when it was time for Jane to finally leave teaching, six of them out of nine decided to immediately join her as private money lenders. They had three of them had retirement accounts and three had cash savings. And so I asked her because, this sounded like too good to be true. So I asked her specific questions on what the conversations were, what did she do, what did she not do, how did she make the presentation, what did she present, and you'll be surprised how simple it was. Again, mostly because of the trust issue, right? There was such a strong bond. So, just like other, tribe teachers are a tight-knit group, and they share similar schedules, values, and financial habits like having retirement accounts. This is all coming from her. This is what she told me, okay? I'm not making this up. Jane's tribe was her fellow teachers who trusted her because of years of working side by side. It's any profession, you know that, right? Just like firefighters. I mean, they depend on each other to help, save their lives. So they're very tight knit. So this trust made it easier for Jane to introduce them to the slow flip model and provide lending opportunity. So Jane's approach was simple and genuine. She talked openly about what she was doing without pressure. This is get this. She used a one-page summary to explain the basics about private money lending. So she did not have a lengthy pitch deck, nothing like that, right? She just used one page when it was necessary a lot of time because especially the person closest to her, he didn't even require that. She just had a conversation, they were sold. But for other people, who were like second, third connections, she just had a one-page summary to explain the basics. Most of the meetings were face to face because these were people she knew personally. Otherwise, she would jump on a call. This is another strategy she used, which worked really well. So remember, I told you when I was explaining how the strategy works, you start with the tribe member who is closest to you. So the first person who invested with her became her, uh, person who would promote on her own to the other members. All right. And so what she did told her as, hey, if you have any other tribe member who is interested in this and they're not sure, just connect them to me and I'll tell them about how great experience it has been. All right. So great. She used that option. So um, in her case, the private money lenders didn't even pick properties. The way she worked was she would just let uh, her private money lenders would let Jane know that they have funds available, and basically she handled the rest. She would find the matching funds to the matching deals. In other words, she put a property under contract, she brought it in, and that's it. So in other words, they were not choosing the property. All right. So in her case, the trust was so built up so high that these people had probably never invested. I don't know, but based on what I've gathered, they've never invested in real estate investments. So in their eyes, she is the expert. All right. So if she was to give them sold comps and all that, it won't really do anything, right? So they're just trusting her. So really, 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 this is all built on trust. So the most common questions there was a question, right? This is a question that somebody with no real estate investment experience would ask as well, right? So the most common question she had from her potential private money lenders is, what if the tenant buyer stops paying rent? It makes sense, right? Well, how will you pay me if they stop paying rent? Because it comes from the idea of, well, would you stop paying me, right? And you all know the answer, of course, not the payment keeps going. So, because Jane kept things simple and honest, more colleagues felt confident and they joined. And she has quite a bit private money lenders in their portfolio have grown amazing. I think these guys have a lot of properties now. Um, so now I wanted her to like give me a summary. And so this is what she says. She says that trust is the biggest hurdle for most private money lenders. And when you're part of a tribe, that trust is already there. You know each other's character, you know work ethics and reliability. And that's why working your tribe beats cold outreach anytime. All right. James Private Money Lender didn't just invest once, they referred friends and colleagues. Now, this is going outside the tribe. Do you see that? So they trust her so much that they are bringing people from outside the tribe now and referring it to her. All right, she's not doing this on her own. Plus, having a reference PML, the one I talked about, the first person, the first tribes person who is now saying that, hey, if you have any problem or somebody wants to give a wants to talk to a referral, send them to me and I'll tell them that you are such a great person to work with. So the word of mouth growth is the power of tribe in your tribe, power of tribes in action. All right, so action steps. So if you want to try this strategy, start with your strongest tribe. First, figure out how many different groups of communities you belong to. Start with your strongest tribe. Be authentic and transparent. Keep your explanations simple and use like some kind of a one-page summary. In our case, we do have our uh, level one pitch deck. You could even summarize it even short on one page, where you don't even need information about yourself. It's like we call it a term sheet, where you really are just summarizing what the opportunity is. Right in one page, you should be able to do that. Offer to connect prospects with existing PMLs. Now, I understand if you don't have existing PMLs, then this might not be possible, but that's something you definitely want to do going forward. By the way, just so that you know, in school, I have testimonial videos that I've done with my PMLs. So when I'm onboarding or I'm right at the stage where there somebody has to just about to make a decision, I send them an email just saying, "Hey, by the way, here are three testimonials from my existing private money lenders," and they're very strong, very, very, very strong. Now, don't overwhelm them with details. Give a broad overview and answer questions as they come. Focus on building and maintaining trust and ask happy partners to spread the word. So, believe it or not, it's a very simple strategy, right? So you really have to start thinking about this.